Hello and welcome to today's exciting journey of self-discovery and personal development. Listen, let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a loop? You're trying to break free from certain old patterns. You're trying to let loose from certain beliefs about yourself. Have you ever felt like that? Hands up if you ever felt that way. Me too, because I have. Listen, if you are like me, today's topic is exactly what you need. Don't you go anywhere. I want you to sit tight. It's going to be fascinating. We're going to be diving into the world of self-image and the profound impact that it actually has in our lives. All right. Now, I want to start by talking about human behavior and self-image. Human beings always act, feel, and perform in accordance to what they imagine to be true about themselves and their environment. Now, let's explore what that means and answer 3 crucial questions as part of this video. At the end of this video, I want to be able to help you understand what is the self-image and how does the self-image contribute to our lives. And then I'm going to share one personal story about how I created a new self-image so that if you want to copy that, I highly recommend that you copy that. Let's get into it. What is the self-image? Now, most of us have heard of terms like self-love, self-confidence. We've heard of terms like self-compassion, self-forgiveness. Have you ever heard of the self-image? The self-image psychology is a new field that recently came up in the late 90s and spearheaded by this really cool guy named Maxwell Maltz. And Maxwell Maltz defines the self-image as the mental picture that we carry around of who we are. So we carry this image of ourselves, of who we believe we are. Now, whether we realize it or not, we all have a self-image of something. Most times, our self-image might be a bit vague, that is not fully formed, or it might just not be consciously recognized. But make no mistake, everyone has a self-image, and that self-image is built upon your beliefs formed from your early environment. From that early environment and your beliefs about your world, we create a picture of ourselves, and that is our self-image. Think about how you see yourself, the estimation you have of yourself. You know those times when things change externally, you become fit, but inside you don't feel fit, you don't think fit. You might not realize nor appreciate that the self-image is the image of yourself that needs to be changed. In fact, when you change anything in your external environment, you've got to update the software, the self-image. When, for example, you become much more outgoing and social, and that's what you wanted, you've got to create a new self-image of yourself as somebody who is now social and outgoing. It is literally impossible to think positively about a particular situation as long as you hold a negative self-image of yourself. Mark that down. The self-image is critical to success. Why? It defines the conceptual limit of what is possible, what you can become, what you can achieve, and even the scope of the experiences that you allow yourself to experience. You see, the self-image is not only critical, it is the determinant of what you actually decide to go after. The self-image is so powerful, and I want to talk about where it's rooted. So let's answer this question. Where is the self-image rooted? Where is it in our physical body? I'll start by talking about the fact that the self-image is a blend of external factors and internal factors. And we've talked about how we should focus on our internal factors, such as our thoughts and our beliefs and our perceptions about ourselves. These are the ones that we have strong controls over. Sometimes external factors come from other people's thoughts, other people's feedbacks, other people's comments, our environment, teachers, and the media. We can tune those down, we can ignore those. But the most important part of working and ensuring that we have a strong rooted self-image is internally. And this is why the brain plays a big role in our self-image. The prefrontal cortex, science tells us that this part plays a big role in forming our self-image. It's the region that's responsible for your executive function, for your self-awareness, for how we make decisions. It is functionally connected to our self-image. For example, take self-awareness. The prefrontal cortex helps us reflect on our thoughts and our emotions and our behaviors, which is essential components of our self-image. Now take integration of information. This part of our brain processes and integrates information from various sources, from news sources, from past experience, from social environment, and it helps us form a coherent sense of self. Take emotional regulation, for example. The prefrontal cortex helps us manage our emotional responses, which has significant impact in how we view ourselves. Now take goal setting and planning. This part of our brain is involved in setting personal goals, planning for our future. And because it is the part that generates a self-image, it plans based on your image. It also helps us understand social cues. It helps us see other people's perspectives. And it helps us decide how we need to act in the face of conflicting realities out there. The self-image is rooted in the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is like the champion of the self-image. And understanding this connection can help us appreciate the neurological basis of our self-concept and potentially work on improving it through targeted exercises and self-reflection. Listen, I'm not a scientist, but I've been reading and diving deep into the science of self-image for the last few years. Neuroscientifically, did you know that the self-image is primarily processed in this part of the brain? I mean, I just said that, but I want to repeat that to you because this is where your thoughts and your perceptions about yourself, your environment, this is where it's formed. Additionally, mirror neurons in our brains allow us to empathize with others. It allows us to transmit our self-view to others. When you have a self-image of yourself that you carry on, you use mirror neurons to send that information to other people. You tell other people who you are before you even come into a room. That's the power of your neurons and the power of your self-image. I want to tell a personal story. You see, my self-image was shaped up as well by my upbringing. Growing up, as you have heard me in this video talk many times, I was surrounded by poverty. I formed an initial opinion of myself based on my environment. I used to also go to church at the time, so for me, I had all of these elements that fed into my self-image. But like most kids, I had a sense of invincibility like a child. I believed I had everything I needed, and this also contributed to my self-image. Now, this is the funny thing about it. I grew up in an environment of poverty. I went to church all the time, but I also felt like there was something more. So I had all these things that were pouring into my self-image. My external environment, the church environment, and my personal belief that I was made for something good. Now, when I started working on my self-image, I began in small steps. Like, even before I knew what self-image was, I think I already started working on it. Like you, early victories, like getting a girl's phone number, or completing my daily activities, or even answering a science quiz question in class properly. These were the initial brush strokes on the canvas of my self-image. The journey was not always smooth. Initially, in my journey, I would oscillate from just being very cocky to just going to the other side of fear, insecurity, and hurt. But this is part of all the journey. A healthy self-image is formed through role modeling and persistent practice. Now, my significant leap came years later when I read this book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. The book introduced me to self-image psychology and shared two crucial discoveries for me. Number one, all your actions, feelings, abilities, behaviors are always consistent with your self-image. That is, if you see yourself as, I'm dumb in math, or I'm a failure, your report card will confirm it. Number two, the self-image can be changed. Now, this is referred to as your ego ideal or your self-image. It can be changed. In the next video, I want to talk about the specific ways that you can work on changing your self-image. I'm going to talk about how relaxation plays a big role in rewriting the software living in your prefrontal cortex. And I'm going to talk about why it is so crucial today to build a powerful self-image to help you on your success journey. I hope you found today's session enlightening, and I hope you are excited about this journey to transform your self-image. Remember, the self-image you choose to nourish will ultimately define who you become and the heights that you can reach. Think about one belief you have about yourself that you feel might be holding you back. Write it down and join me next time as we find a way to transform that belief and rewrite it into a new self-image so that you start walking like a new person. I'm excited for you. Thank you for joining me on today's session. If this resonated with you, if you like this video, I want you to like it and subscribe so that next time, once I post the video, you're able to see it. See you next time. Until then, live strong and live passionately. Cheers.